Hello everyone, and welcome back. So this time we're going to be talking about the center of gravity, the center of mass, and the centroid of a body. Here we go. Okay, so first off, why do you even care? We got to start with that every single time. So first off, if you got a big structure like this, and it's supporting a water tank, we're going to need to know the weight of the tank and the water. We also need to understand where that weight for the water and the tank act. Like, it is technically distributed, but we want to have it, okay, where can we summarize this as a single point force? So where can we determine the resultant weights? So how can we determine the resultant weights? And where are their lines of action? Well, spoiler, it's going to go through the center of gravity. Weight goes through the center of gravity because gravity causes your weight. Magic. Incredible. Okay, another thing you might know about is, have you ever driven in a Jeep before? I have friends who love their Jeeps. I think they're kind of terrifying looking. Reason, because they have a very, very high center of gravity and they're prone to tipping over. Not fun. Not fun for me. So, one issue that you see in these vehicles is, well, they can tip over. Now this is just an SUV, but the same thing goes for a Jeep. And when they're taking these really tight turns, they sometimes flip. Not fun. No good. So if you don't want this car to flip, where would you put its center of gravity? Would you move it up or down? What do you think? Now I'll give you a hint. Okay? Give you a hint. Which do you expect to make a tighter turn? 18-wheeler or a drag racer? Not drag racer, sorry, that's the wrong kind of vehicle. A race car. Now, most likely that race car is going to be able to make a much tighter turn. Reason? Their center of gravity is very, very low, while that big 18-wheeler, its center of gravity is fairly high. It can't turn quickly, otherwise it will roll over. If you're still not certain about this, you're trying to figure out, like, well, how can I do this? Borrow a car. I drive a very tiny car. It's really low to the ground. I can go around curves easy. I have no worries whatsoever. However, the second I get into a bigger car or a van, I feel so scared when I'm going around curves. I'm like, oh goodness, I'm going to tip over. I go much slower than I would otherwise. So, with all of that, the lower our center of gravity is, the less likely you're going to tip. Sorry, the less likely you're going to tip. So, for this SUV, move it lower, you'll be safer. And second thing is, where is that point? Like, if you were to calculate, it needs to be low, but how do you find it? Well, we're going to find out about that. Okay, one last thing. So you see this ground support right here. We have to figure out what the total weight of the structure is, but we also have to figure out where is that weight sort of acting. Otherwise, we can't tell, is this going to be able to support it? Is it going to be fine? Is this structure just going to fall over? Like, for example, you might see a crane, one of those like tower cranes, and it looks something like this. Actually, it's usually a lot longer on one side than the other. And it'll have a big weight over here. The reason they have that big weight is because the center of gravity would be over here otherwise, and it would cause it to tip over. By adding the big weight, the center of gravity is at the center. And we're safe. I mean, slight variations to either side is okay. It can hold a slight moment. It just can't hold a big one. So, center of gravity's location is a very important detail. We want to know what it is. Now, sadly for this example, it would be a pain. Reason? You have a curve. Curves are terrible. There are some ways we can get around this, but in general, if you see a curve, it's going to be a little bit harder problem. Okay, with that, I'm going to stop here, and next time we're going to jump right in to learning how to do the center of gravity and finding the centroid of a particular object. So, look forward to talking to all of you then. Bye-bye.